Have you ever asked yourself, why doesn't it feel the same anymore? Why does something that once brought relief, confidence, and even connection now leave you feeling less satisfied, less energized, less like yourself? If you're a man over 60, this isn't just your imagination, and it's not just age. Every single day, thousands of older men unknowingly make small, private mistakes that slowly weaken their circulation, dull their sensation, and quietly steal the intimacy they still deserve. But here's the truth nobody talks about. It's not age that's the enemy. It's the habits you never knew were harming you. In this video, I'll expose the 5 most common masturbation mistakes that silently damage your blood flow, your confidence, and your connection with your partner. Mistakes almost every man over 60 is making without realizing it. And more importantly, I'll show you exactly how to reverse them, how to restore sensitivity, boost circulation, and rekindle your ability to give and receive pleasure in the way your body still craves. But don't stop halfway. Because of the 5th mistake? It's the one even the healthiest, most careful men overlook. And it might be the single reason you feel like your drive has faded or your connection has gone cold. So if you've ever felt frustrated, disconnected, or quietly afraid that your best days are behind you, stay with me. This could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Your body isn't broken. You're not too late. But you do need to listen now, because what you learn in this video might just give you back something you thought was lost for good. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. I've had the honor of working with men in their 60s, 70s, even into their 80s. Good men, strong men, men who've lived full lives. Many of them came to me heartbroken, quietly carrying the weight of a painful belief that their best days were long behind them, that the fire had simply gone out. But what we discovered together was something far more hopeful and far more alarming. Their intimacy hadn't faded because of age, not because of some inevitable decline. No, the real reason was far more silent, far more hidden. It was invisible damage caused by everyday habits, habits no one ever warned them about. Habits they thought were harmless, even healthy. Here's the truth that no one talks about. Masturbation by itself is not the enemy. When approached with mindfulness and respect for your body, it can be a beautiful, life-affirming act. It can help you maintain circulation, release stress, and preserve your connection to desire. But when it's done the wrong way, especially after age 60, it can slowly, silently become a thief. A thief of your blood flow, your sensation, your confidence, and your most sacred connection with another human being. In this powerful and eye-opening session, I'm going to walk you through the 5 most dangerous masturbation mistakes older men make. These aren't just little quirks. They're deeply harmful patterns that can lead to permanent damage if not corrected. And at the end of this session, I'll reveal the single most devastating mistake that nearly every man overlooks. A mistake that's so common, so widespread, yet so rarely discussed, it could be stealing your intimacy and vitality without you even knowing it. So stay with me. What you learn today could quite literally change the way you experience pleasure, connection, and confidence for the rest of your life. And before we dive in, if you haven't already subscribed, now is the time. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and make sure you never miss another vital insight that could protect your intimacy and preserve your circulation after 60. If you're already part of this journey with me, type 1 in the comments below. Let me know you're here. If not, type 0. Your feedback matters. It helps me create content that speaks directly to your needs and your life. Now that you understand just how serious the consequences can be, let's dive into the first mistake. It's one that I've seen wreak quiet havoc on men's lives for decades, and sadly, most never realize it until the damage is already done. Let me speak to you from the heart. This is one of the most common, and one of the most heartbreaking mistakes I've encountered in over 30 years of working with men over 60. It's the silent habit of using too much force during masturbation, gripping too tightly, pulling too hard, trying to replicate the raw intensity of youth with a body that now craves something gentler, more attentive, more aware. You see, most men have no idea this behavior is causing any harm. It feels familiar. It feels necessary. After all, sensitivity isn't what it used to be, and you just want to feel something again. But here's the painful reality. Beneath the surface, your body is quietly suffering. As we age, our skin becomes thinner. The blood vessels in the penis, once resilient and elastic, become more delicate. The tissues that once bounced back from stress now take longer to recover. And when you apply too much pressure, even if you don't feel pain in the moment, you create tiny micro-tears beneath the skin. These small injuries often go unnoticed, but your body does notice. It responds by laying down scar tissue. And over time, that scar tissue builds. It hardens. It narrows your blood vessels. And those blood vessels are the lifelines of your manhood. They carry the blood that creates and sustains erection, that fuels your sensation, your satisfaction, your joy. When those vessels begin to close off, even slightly, the effects can be devastating. Arousal slows, erections weaken, the spark begins to dim. What once came naturally now feels like a struggle, and in the silence of your heart, you may start to question your worth, your masculinity, and your place in your relationship. And let's not ignore the emotional weight. When intimacy becomes something you dread instead of something you look forward to, when your partner's touch no longer stirs excitement, but anxiety, it takes a toll on your spirit. I've watched men retreat, stop initiating affection, pull away emotionally out of fear and frustration. The distance grows, first in the bedroom, then in the heart. All because of a simple, private habit no one ever told them was harmful. The worst part? So many men blame themselves. They blame their age. They blame their partner. But it's not age and it's not weakness. It's simply a misunderstanding of what your body now needs. What it's asking for. What it's quietly pleading for. Gentleness. Presence. Awareness. Your body is not broken. It's just changing. And it's calling you to change with it, not to abandon your pleasure, but to reclaim it in a healthier, wiser way. This is not the end of intimacy. It can be a new beginning, a chance to approach your own body with tenderness, with patience, and with reverence. So, are you ready to stop this silent damage and reclaim the joy and connection you still deserve? Then let's keep going. The next mistake is just as common, and just as damaging. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your habits the same way again. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to give up masturbation. That's not the message here, and I want to make that crystal clear. What's needed is not an end, but a shift in how you approach it. Think of it like owning a beautiful classic car. The thrill of the ride is still there, but you don't take sharp corners at full speed anymore. You slow down. You respect the vehicle's age, its unique quirks, and you drive it with care, with intention. That's what we need to do with our bodies. We've spent decades learning to push ourselves, to chase the intensity, to go all in. But after 60, the body changes. And just like with that old car, the power is still there. It's just a matter of how we handle it. You need to approach it with care, with attention to detail. A gentler grip, a slower, more deliberate rhythm. You'll be amazed at how your sensation and blood flow improve when you stop pushing your system past its limit. When you begin listening to your body and honoring it instead of forcing it to keep up with the pace it once could. This isn't about weakness or surrender. This is about reclaiming intimacy, about regaining your confidence, your sensuality, your connection to your own body. It's about having the freedom to give and receive pleasure without fear, frustration, or the shadow of doubt creeping in. I've witnessed men in their 70s, even their 80s, make this very shift. And let me tell you, they rediscovered a level of intimacy and joy that felt more fulfilling, more profound than they ever thought possible. And they did it not by forcing themselves into old habits, but by shifting into a new way of being. But let's be clear, aggressive technique isn't the only habit that's quietly eroding your vitality. There's another mistake, one that might seem small, even trivial at first, but it's just as dangerous. And it's something most men don't even realize is damaging them until it's too late. What is it? It's what you leave out when you masturbate. That's right, lubrication. Now, this is a subject few men talk about, and even fewer ever think of as a potential danger. But let me tell you, it's a habit that can wreak silent havoc on your body. Masturbating without lubrication may have seemed like a harmless, maybe even unnecessary, thing in your youth. After all, you never needed it. You were young, resilient, and your skin could handle the friction. But after 60? That same friction becomes a hidden force of destruction. Let's talk about why this is so crucial. As we age, the skin on our bodies changes. It becomes thinner, drier, and less elastic. This is especially true for the delicate skin of the penis. The skin that once easily tolerated friction, without much thought or consequence, now struggles. It's not that the skin is fragile, it's just that it's different. And that difference matters. It means what used to be a simple action of release can now lead to long-term consequences if it's not approached properly. When you continue masturbating the same way you did in your 30s, without lubrication, you're subjecting your skin to constant, unnecessary friction. And that friction isn't just uncomfortable, it's damaging. It causes micro-tears, small, almost invisible injuries beneath the surface. At first, there's no pain. No sharp sensation, no burning, but under the surface, something dangerous is unfolding, something that you can't see but that your body feels deeply. The body, in response to these small injuries, triggers an inflammatory reaction. This inflammation, though seemingly innocuous at first, gradually becomes chronic. And over time, chronic inflammation reduces the flexibility and health of the tiny blood vessels beneath the surface. These blood vessels, the very vessels that are responsible for filling the chambers of your penis with blood, are vital for circulation and sensation. When they're compromised, blood flow slows, erections become weaker, sensitivity drops, and instead of experiencing the release and pleasure you once enjoyed, you begin to experience frustration, self-doubt, a quiet sense of loss. Let me share the story of Robert, a patient of mine who, at 67, came to me feeling like his sexual experiences had become dull. Not painful, not impossible, just lackluster. He'd been married for over 40 years, still deeply in love with his wife, but he noticed that sex wasn't as satisfying as it once had been. He didn't think much of it. He assumed it was just a natural part of aging, something everyone goes through. But after a long, honest conversation, we uncovered something surprising. Robert had been masturbating frequently, just as he always had. No lubrication. He never thought it mattered. But it did. Over time, that dry friction had been causing tiny tears, triggering inflammation, and slowly degrading the very tissue responsible for his sensitivity and circulation. It wasn't that Robert was aging wrong or that something was broken inside him. It was simply that he hadn't been informed. He wasn't broken. He was just unaware. And once we changed that, once he began using lubrication, he noticed immediate improvement. That's the power of education. That's the power of understanding how your body changes and adapting to those changes with care and respect. If this message is resonating with you, if you're feeling the weight of these truths, let me know by typing 1 in the comments below. I want to hear from you. You're not alone in this journey, and the more we talk about it, the more we can empower each other. I recommended that Robert switch to a gentle, water-based lubricant, one free from harsh chemicals, perfumes, or anything artificial that could further irritate his already sensitive skin. But more than that, I guided him to begin treating his body not as a machine that needed to perform, but as something sacred, something worthy of tenderness and care. We worked together to adjust his habits, not to restrict him, but to honor who he was now and what his body truly needed at this stage in life. And do you know what happened? Within just 1 month, Robert walked back into my office beaming. He wasn't just relieved. He was glowing. He told me, in his own quiet words, the spark didn't just come back. It feels deeper, more connected, more alive. That's the part one wish every man could experience. That shift. That awakening. Because the truth is, the smallest change, a touch more softness, a drop of lubrication can restore what you thought was lost forever. Let's be clear. Lubrication isn't a luxury. It's not indulgent. It's not something extra. It's a line of defense. It's your body's armor against wear and tear. It's about protection. It's about respect. It's about finally giving your skin, your tissue, your blood vessels the kindness and support they need to keep serving you. When you use a proper lubricant, you dramatically reduce inflammation. You guard against friction-induced tissue breakdown. You preserve the integrity of those delicate blood vessels that are essential for blood flow, sensitivity, and arousal. You're not just saving your skin, you're saving your pleasure, your vitality, your ability to feel fully present in those intimate moments. And the impact doesn't stop at the physical level. It seeps into your emotional well-being, too. You see, when pleasure begins to dull or disappear, so does confidence. When confidence fades, you hesitate. You stop initiating. You stop reaching out. You begin to question your worth. You quietly retreat from your partner, not because the love is gone, but because a shadow of fear settles in. The fear that you're not enough anymore, that your body can't respond the way it used to. I've watched strong, loving marriages grow silent, not from a lack of care, but from unspoken struggles. The man quietly stops trying. The woman starts to wonder if something's wrong. And all the while, the solution was simple. So heartbreakingly simple. Lubrication. No one ever told them. No one ever explained that this small change could preserve what matters most. That it could mean the difference between avoiding touch and craving it again. That it could mean the difference between enduring a moment and savoring it. That it could keep the flame alive not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. If you've been skipping lubrication, if you've thought to yourself, it doesn't matter, I need you to hear this clearly, it does matter. It matters now more than ever. After 60, the body doesn't bounce back from micro-trauma like it used to. You need to protect what still brings you joy. A high-quality, gentle lubricant isn't just something nice to have. It's your first line of defense against decline. It keeps the vessels open, the tissue supple, the nerves responsive. It keeps you alive down there, in every sense of the word. And once that returns, so does your confidence, so does your desire, so does your willingness to show up, fully and fearlessly, in the moments that matter most. But even as powerful as that change is, lubrication is only one piece of the puzzle. Because the third mistake, the one I see most often, isn't about what you do with your hands. It's about what you ignore with your heart, your mind, and your body. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Let's talk about something most men avoid at all costs. The slow, quiet changes that start to creep in after 60. The ones we brush off. The ones we minimize. We chalk it up to aging. We tell ourselves, it's normal, it's nothing, it'll pass. But deep down, we feel the shift. And silence can be dangerous. One of the biggest, most costly mistakes I see in older men is the tendency to ignore the early signs that something isn't right. These signs don't scream. They whisper. Weaker erections. Delayed arousal. A lingering sense that satisfaction just isn't what it used to be. The moment ends, but something doesn't feel complete, or fulfilling, or whole. And yet, most men suffer quietly. Out of pride, out of fear, out of not wanting to face the possibility that something has changed. I remember Alan, 72 years old, retired, independent, still vibrant in so many ways. But something inside him was starting to dim. He came to me hesitantly, his voice barely above a whisper when he said, "Doc, I'm just not feeling things like I used to. I want to, but it's like my body's disconnected from me." That's when we started uncovering the truth. Alan had been using the same masturbation habits he'd relied on for decades, same motions, same pressure, same frequency. But his body had changed. The strength of his erections had faded. His orgasms, once intense and satisfying, now felt muted. His desire, once effortless, felt distant. He assumed it was just aging. But it wasn't. What he was experiencing were early signs of impaired blood flow. His body wasn't betraying him, it was crying out for change. And just like so many men, he'd missed the signals. These signals aren't random. They're not just part of getting older. They are your body's warning lights. Your body is telling you that your circulation is slowing down, that your veins are losing elasticity, that your nerve pathways are under stress. What's worse, these warning signs don't come with pain. There's no sharp alarm. Just a slow, quiet fade. A soft retreat from sensation, from strength, from self. And because it happens so gradually, most men don't act. They don't seek help. They don't even talk about it. Instead, they withdraw. From their partners. From themselves. They stop initiating intimacy, not because the desire is gone, but because the shame is too loud. Because they're terrified that trying will only lead to disappointment. But here's what I need every man to understand. These changes are not always permanent. Many of them are completely reversible if you catch them early, if you stop ignoring them, if you listen to your body and give it what it needs. When you begin to view your erections not as a measure of manhood, but as a vital sign of your vascular and nerve health, everything shifts. You move from shame to awareness, from resignation to action, from fear to freedom. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, turn things around. Once they recognized the signs, once they adapted their habits, their routines, and their mindset, their intimacy returned. Not just the function, but the feeling, the excitement, the closeness, the joy. So if you've noticed these shifts, don't ignore them. Don't brush them off. Let them guide you. Let them teach you how to care for the part of yourself that still longs for connection, still deserves intimacy, and is still very much alive. We've uncovered the small but powerful changes you can make to reclaim your intimacy, your vitality, and your confidence. From adjusting your approach to masturbation with a gentler touch and proper lubrication, to recognizing the warning signs your body is trying to send you, this journey isn't about accepting decline. It's about actively protecting and nurturing the parts of yourself that deserve care, attention, and respect. It's about listening to your body. It's about treating it with kindness, not as something that's broken, but as something worthy of love and preservation. Whether it's making small shifts to your technique, using lubrication to prevent unnecessary damage, or finally acknowledging the subtle signs of aging, these are the changes that can make all the difference. So, I want to hear from you. What is one thing you've learned today that you're going to bring into practice in your life? Maybe it's about using lubrication, maybe it's about paying more attention to the early warning signs, or maybe it's simply about slowing down and embracing the gentleness that your body now craves. Whatever it is, share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what resonates with you the most. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor. Leave your comment below, hit that like button, and share this with anyone you know who could benefit from this information. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss another video packed with insights on how to age gracefully, stay healthy, and live your best life.